In this video, we're going to talk about the visibility in object-oriented programming PHP. So we have public, protected, and private, these three visibilities areas. If you see on the left here, I have a user class where we have the public method with variable, and then we have public variable here, then protected variable, and then private variable. So public variable is a variable that can be accessed from anywhere. You can access it from inside the class, or you can access it outside the class. In a moment we will see the example for it. Now, second is protected. Now protected is something that we can access inside the class, and also the class that is extending the main class. So in the child class we can access the protected method as well. So you can see that here I have a user class, and there is an employee class which is extending user class. So here we can use the protected method. But if you are going to use protected method or variable outside of these two classes, then it's not going to work. Then we have private. Private is something that can be accessed only inside the class. So if I have this private balance here inside user class, we cannot use it inside employee class. We can only use it inside the user class, and we cannot use it outside these classes as well. So it is limited to the class only. So if any value you want to make sure no one can access outside, you define them as private. Alright guys, so I have a class with the name of user, and there are some variables: name, age, user ID, and balance. And I have two functions here, user details and balance check. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an object of this class. So I'm going to say new user, and I'm going to put it into a variable. So I say $user. Now we need to display these values, and I want to show you how we can access protected, private, and public methods and variables. So to display the public variables, there is no problem. We are outside this class. You can see that if we collapse it, these curly braces are closing. So if I'm outside of these curly braces writing anything that is not inside the class, we cannot work with the private method or variable. So let's say if I say here $user, and I'm going to display the name first. I'm just going to say echo and refresh. So we get the name. We have name as public, so there is no problem. We can use it outside the class. So we got it there. Now, if I go to protected and here user ID, and I'm going to put here, we are going to get an error. So let's see first. So it says cannot access protected property. The reason is, to work with protected property, you can use the protected property or variable or function inside the class only, and not the outside the class. So it is protected. We cannot use it here. Now same goes with private. So if I copy the balance here and refresh, we get the similar error. Cannot access the private property. Now if you want to use it from straight away from this class only, you can do this. Then you can define a function. You can see that I have a function user details where I'm calling user ID. User ID is protected, but this function is public. So if I call this function outside, and what happens is this is going to give us the value. So you can see that. So you can see that you are accessing protected value using this function. Because this function is public, we are not getting any error. Similarly, if we want to display the private value, we can do that as well. So I need to get the check balance, balance check, I'm going to paste here, refresh here, we get the balance. So this is how you use the public and protected and private. Now for the protected, there is one more thing I need to tell you. What happens is we can use protected inside child classes as well. Now child class, we can extend the user class. So let's see how we can do that. We simply say class, and I'm going to give it a name employee extends. This is the keyword we write to extend the class, and we say user. So we're saying we are extending the user class, and by saying that, we are getting access to all these variables and functions. So if I say here, let's say a public method display details, and inside it I can call any of these. So what I do, I call the private one. So let's see in child class what happens when we call a private one. So I hope you already guessed it. So what we need to do here is I'm going to say this, and we need to add it like this, and we need to return it. Now to access this, I need to make an object of this employee class. So let's do that. So I say here $employee is equal to new employee, and to display this function we call this employee. So I say employee and then the function goes here, save it, refresh, we get an error. Okay, we missed the function here, sorry about that. So save that, all looks good so far, refresh. Now we get the error because this balance is private. So private, as I told you already, we can use only inside the main class. So we cannot call this private variable outside the class, and we cannot call it in the child class as well. We can only call it inside the main class. So we can use it here inside this function, that's not a problem, but we cannot use it here. So it is going to say that it is undefined. It is private for this particular class only. Now in the case of protected, we can use it. So if I copy the protected variable here, user ID, and I go here and refresh, we get the ID. So that works. So if you call this user ID straight away outside the classes, both these classes, it is going to give us error. But inside this class as well as inside child class, we can access the protected method, and only public method, that is, we can access anywhere. We can access in child class, a main class, and outside of these two classes. Hope you got the understanding.